Just a heads up, the Lindas have a new video for a new song called Ho. And Ho, like OH. Don't
Okay,
misquote
so
me.
Not ho.
not ho.
Sound the same to me right now, but I guess.
Welcome to Sparkling Harmonies. We're your hosts, Lily.
And François.
And we are two friends who don't quite listen to the same genres or bands, but
we are here to talk about everything and anything music related. Yay!
So today we have a guest again. It's been a little while since we had our last guest. François, why don't you introduce him?
Okay, he's an explorer of the World Wide Web. His experimentation with all the possibilities of the web bring him everywhere from podcast to vlogging, and now even a culinary critic. He's present on Le Geek Collectif, Les Jambons, Podtrek, Game 2, and the most famous show formerly known as Chissou Factory Review.
AKA, I'm drunk, so I'll review.
Yeah.
Yes.
He has the voice and DJ behind all the major events at Arcade Montréal. So please welcome Eric Hebert.
Yay.
Hello, we say Eric Hebert.
Sorry.
How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Very, very well. Super excited to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for coming. So we usually start our guest episodes with a little segment called Get to Know Your Guests. So let's start this off with, what was your first album?
My first album?
Yeah, that you bought or that had a big impact on you. Either one.
Okay, I'm going to go for a deep dive here, I think. I'd probably go with Gowan's You're a Strange Animal, if that makes any sense. You guys know Gowan or Lawrence Gowan? Or
Nope.
Not at all.
So Gowan's this Canadian pop singer from the singer-songwriter from the 80s. He's now lead vocalist for Styx now, though, which I now consider a super band because of that. But that's another story. But yeah, You're a Strange Animal was probably one of those cassettes that I just destroyed listening nonstop. It's the most 80s pop album I think you can listen to. Almost every song on it are great. I found out about it. First time I heard the title track, You're a Strange Animal, was like at the beginning of Much Music and stuff like that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Much Music still had music.
This is right at the beginning of Much Music, and the music video for You're a Strange Animal, where Gowan kind of like talks about women as in they're strange animals, or like it's hard for him to like to size up sometimes, the typical boy meet girl stuff, I guess there. But the video was super cool because it was like this video where there was superimposed drawings and animations on it. So it was like one of those really cool wow videos. And the whole album is just great. I don't know. It's one of my first albums. I listened to it recently while I was driving to Ottawa. I listened to it at least 2-3 times a year. That's my first it's the first album I think I remember buying also.
Wow.
And like we're talking 1986 something. I'm old.
Okay.
I wasn't born.
Did you just say you weren't born?
I wasn't born.
So I'm super old now.
It's okay.
I was born. I wasn't born.
But I highly suggest the album for anybody. It's a great. Like Gowan was amazing. He's like a very good singer. Like known for being a pianist, and he's like was just a really good songwriter, and was just pigeonholed into this whole 80s pop machine album. He broke out of that eventually, and like I said, now if you guys know the band Styx.
Yeah.
Well, he is now their lead singer. He replaced the lead singer for Styx about 12 years ago. And they're still releasing albums together. He's still working.
I'm not sure, but that was a show? There were a live show or a reality show about finding a new singer for Styx, if I remember.
Really?
Correctly.
I don't remember that. Yeah, but I think Gowan was a guest replacement every now and then, and eventually they just melded. And in my books, it makes Styx kind of like a super band for me, anyways. Because when they you listen to Styx, or if you go see a stick show. I saw one with him. It becomes kind of like a mix of like all the classic stick songs, but you throw in some Gowan that pops up on his piano now and then.
Oh, okay.
It's just
That's
like
cool.
it's super cool. And he released like a really good album, I think in the mid 90s, which was kind of like just acoustic. I think he's from Montreal too. I'm not even sure. Like, I actually think he's Montreal. But anyways,
no
stick.
idea.
Anyways, Gowan. Yeah, You're a Strange Animal. Check out the video. It's super
I will have to check that out. And what is your most memorable experience with music?
Oh boy, my most memorable experience. This is probably one of the biggest things I remember was in Ottawa. We have this festival called le Festival Franco-Ontarien. It's like a festival of music for. They say it's Festival Franco-Ontarien, so it's like to celebrate French language in Ontario. I'm from Ontario, by the way, which explains my very good English, I guess, but good-ish. But during the Festival Franco-Ontarien, one time, like I think in about 95, Jean Leloup came. And Plume La Traverse opened for him.
Hey boy, what a ride!
And there might have been some experimental stuff happening with me and my friends. And this show was, I think, is one of the most memorable shows I've ever seen. There was this, like, I think it was the first time I experienced the mosh pit. I was like 17 years old.
During Jean Leloup?
During Jean Leloup, like, it was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. He was obviously drunk or fucked up. He was always
probably
coming
both.
out. So all of it. But it was like really some like good, high quality Jean Leloup party stuff. Like at points he would come out just with Casio and like put on like a salsa beat and just play guitar, and I don't know, it was a great show. It was one of my good experiences. I would also have to add, like as a parentheses, my rave culture from the 90s. Going to raves and going to like these early 90s raves and underground warehouse raves where I literally fell in love with electronic music at the time. So, yeah.
Okay, that's cool. And what is your current artist of the moment?
Lorde. I've been listening to, I don't even know why I said Lorde, but yeah, Lorde. I've been listening to her new 2 singles that have been out. She's probably my go-to. I also listened to the album, the GBs. Did you guys hear about that?
Yeah, with the Fighters.
The Foo Fighters covering
the Bee Gees.
The Bee Gees.
Really? No, I didn't hear about that.
Oh, what a fun album!
Is there all the falsetto?
All of it is there. Yes, absolutely. Oh yeah, he sings false. Yeah, it's. Yeah, so that's probably my go-to right now. But besides that, I'm not good with all the names, but on my Spotify playlist, I'm big on Americana these days. So yeah, that's pretty much the music I've been listening to. But my artist at the moment is going to have to be Lorde. She's a very special creature.
Nice.
You guys listen to Lorde at all, or
Not really. Like I know the hits.
Yeah.
But I mean, these are hits that were like 4, 5 years ago.
Yeah. But that's the thing. This is her new album that's just now coming out. So
I didn't even know.
Yeah,
so I'll have to go check that out.
It's good stuff.
Great. And what is your song of the moment?
My song of the moment, I'm gonna go with Strange Animal just because I've been listening to it nonstop these days. Like Lorde is I don't know, maybe Gowan is my guy of the moment also right now, but I've been a lot into the You're a Strange Animal, so I listened to it a few times. Besides that, I listen to so much music like just in background these days that I have a hard time to just focus on one. There's always music. Here I'll go with my the set artist, right?
No, now it's song.
Now it's song. Yeah. I don't even know. The actual, like, there's just so many I can't even think about it there. I'd have to look on my Spotify playlist to remind me.
Okay, so just a mix of all of the things that you just mentioned.
Everything. Sorry for the very boring answer, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
And what have you been listening to, François?
I discovered a band called Meet Me at the Altar.
Well, you guys look really prepared.
Yeah.
This is a segment we have every time, so we're used to this.
And you will see Lily like things like that are like really tight. So I have to be ready. I have pressure. No, I discovered this band by listening to other new pop punk stuff. It's always coming back, always suggested by YouTube and Spotify. At the beginning, I was just drawn by the song, and when I watched the videos, I was totally hooked because it's like a mix of pop punk with breakdowns and like math rock, I guess.
It's good. It was good. I liked it. I like what
really colorful. Like it looks like they're having the time of their life just being there. So I guess it's like contagious.
Mm-hmm.
And even if I'm not a teenage girl, I feel empowered by the song. Like,
fair.
Because I really, really hate to say that, but they kind of use it. They are girls. It's an all girl band. They are person of colors. And if I'm not mistaken, there's one is queer. And they use that as a message because they said they were so there was no black people when they were underrepresented. Thank you, Lily. And so they tried to push like another image of pop punk. And even when you saw a couple of videos of them in shows, most of the time the only girls and only black person or I think there's a Spanish one too.
Mm-hmm.
So they tried to push that other image, other possibilities to smaller and younger kids. So that's really cool. And a couple of weeks ago, they were signed by Fueled by Ramen.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
So I really know them.
I know them.
It's the same record house as All Time Low, Paramore, and they work with Halsey. We're talking a lot about
She's
her.
Everywhere.
Yeah, Halsey is.
So seriously, just look at the videos. They are three girls having fun. Seriously, I just want to have like 12 years old and be like that again. So I would probably be the whole white guy in the back on the next show. So,
but you're right though, because when you look at the pop punk scene, it's a lot of the same type of people, which is pretty much white guys. And so there's already not a lot of women. Like there are people of color, but already that was a minority, and women is a minority. And now women of color on top of that, like I can't think of any just like that on the top of my head. So that's cool. That's really cool.
And what about you, Lily?
So I have to look it up really quickly to make sure I don't say it wrong. So I follow a few labels on YouTube, like Fueled by Ramen, Hopeless Records, Equal Vision Records. And so every once in a while, they'll release their artists' music videos, and I'll click on them to see, oh, who's that? Or, I don't know this person, or I've heard of this. So I just randomly clicked on this one, which was Young Culture's Simple Minded Teens, which all stuck together, simple-minded teens. And this is an alternative rock band from New York, Albany, New York. And I really liked it. It's really catchy. It sounds really fun. And I then went on to listen to a bunch of their other songs on YouTube. So yeah, they're a trio, and they're really good. Everybody should really check them out. They also look like they have a lot of fun in their music videos, but I think that's what music videos are all about too. Most of the time.
Sadness.
Yeah. Except for the depressing songs, yeah.
Except for the depressing song where they crop up the happiness.
Yeah. So this is a new discovery for me.
Yeah. And just a heads up, the Lindas have a new video for a new song called Ho. And Ho like OH. Don't misquote me.
Not Ho. Not Ho.
Sounds the same to me right now, but I guess you're right.
Eric and I, we caught on. We're like, I was like very surprised that they released a song called Ho.
Yeah, they maybe too young for that.
Oh,
Remember the drummer is like 12?
yeah.
But again, they're having fun, like so much fun. They they released like a behind the stage on Instagram, like for a whole week before the video. You saw them like scribble on the walls and choose their outfit and stuff like that. It's contagious. I just want to be part of that band. I want to jump around with them. I want to shout with them. They're having fun, and it just looks like a cool thing to listen with friends. So really refreshing. Maybe because I'm mostly listening to metal and like seeing happy people. It's like a new thing to me. I don't know, but it's really really fun. So go check them out.
So
I gotta say, every time I see you, Francois, talk, and then I listen to your music, I'm always fucking mind blown. Sorry, I'm allowed to swear there, but oh my god, it just okay. I just wanted to say that. Sorry.
So Francois in a metal band.
Exactly.
For those who might not know.
I thought that would have been known.
I mean, we've mentioned it a few times, but by the way, his band just released a second demo.
Yeah.
Second album. So you can check that out on. You can check that out on Bandcamp.
And by the way, Lily draw the cover.
Oh, pour vrai?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
I very, very, very outside of my comfort zone. It was so hard because I do not draw monsters. I do not draw anything that's like ominous or anything. And this was like a monster that he had to look like very intense. It was really hard. Like I've just been painting BTS for the past few weeks. Like,
well, that's a nice juxtaposition there.
So yeah. So go check out his music.
Yeah, check it out, and then look at his smile, and then check it out again. And anyways, that's awesome.
But you know, I just let it out during
I know
my music, listening and playing. So
the band name is I don't know how to pronounce it. Bilok.
It's Bilok. Okay. And for Eric, it's hidden characters in Mortal Kombat 3, the gold edition. It was never released. There was a leak on the internet, and there's like 5 pictures available on Google. And
that I used to draw.
And when we put our first EP out, I got an email from the guy who designed the characters and a part of the game, asking me like, where did you get that name? And I didn't know that was him. I didn't know. And I just answered him like, oh, it's a character in Mortal Kombat. Like I was leaked before, and we are like, because the 3 other guys I play with are really, really fan of Mortal Kombat. And that's funny because I always say it with a French accent.
Mortal Kombat.
Hey, Mortal Kombat, being a guy from Ontario, I had a friend from Quebec, and it was the Mortel. Hey, on va aller jouer à Mortel.
Yeah.
Like Mortadella, Mortel.
And the funny part, when the guy answered me like, yeah, I know, I'm the creator of that characters.
Wow.
And I asked to a friend, Michael Larouche, and I was like, do you know that guy? And he's like, yeah, why? And I told him like, the guy just explained me he's the creator of that characters, and he was like, just impressed that that's still part of the lore over.
Was it like Ed Boon or John Tobias, one of the 2 big guys, or?
I don't know his name. I can check it out and tell you.
Yeah, I'll check it out after there, but I didn't know that story. That's awesome.
To me, that was like nothing special, but for him, that was like, oh, my character's still alive, even if
it was never released.
Yeah, never released. So
yeah, that's cool.
That's a fun fact.
But going back to the Linda Lindas though. So Francois, you and I were going to LA in November.
I will be first in row. Seriously, I listen to that a lot. Even if I would probably the oldest guy on the floor, but I don't care. I will be there.
Because they're playing a festival, Head in the Clouds, Above the Clouds.
Above the Cloud, I think.
From 88 Rising, which is a label. And Jay or Ige is also playing. And so is Keshi and Sorry. So a bunch of pretty cool artists. And Rich Brian. So a bunch of Asian artists, actually. So it looks like a really fun festival in November.
My God, I had to look him up there. Those are actual kids.
Yeah.
They're really young.
They make me think of the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. Is that the name of that we're called?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Eric, if you saw the movie Moxie on Netflix, they are playing the whole soundtrack.
Oh, really? No, I have to check that
Covers
out.
from The Muff and Bikini Kill.
Nice. I have a video there of them live at the LA Public Library that I will be listening to after.
Yeah. That was like I think one of the first things you sent me.
Yeah.
From them. Yeah.
Cool.
Now that we got to know our guests a little bit better, we're going to get into the subject of today, which is guilty pleasures. So if you've listened to us a few times, you'll know that I don't really have a guilty pleasure. François is trying to get over guilty pleasure, the concept of guilty pleasures. So let's start by defining it. What is a guilty pleasure?
Who starts?
Hey, go with you.
I think I can go right away there. Guilty
Go
pleasures,
ahead.
like we were talking about it earlier when we were just talking about the prep there, but it's stuff. It's funny because I'm part of I'm a big proponent of the geek culture, or with our podcast, and the whole base concept of a geek is to embrace stuff you love without being ashamed of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
So that's one big thing about it. So guilty pleasure, I see it as just the aspect of peer pressure in reverse in a way. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Where you like something that's not the best example, and I'm a big defender of those guys, but Nickelback. I mean, I don't see why I should be ashamed of liking Nickelback.
Yeah, how did that even become a thing?
I think they just got so big. So it's kind of like counterculture just comes naturally when something becomes so big. So it became kind of like a running gag, but saying I like Nickelback in front of friends, you're like, oh, it's a guilty pleasure. But in the end, it's just the pressure. There's like a reverse peer pressure. That's the way I see it there.
Well, I had found this Reddit thread interesting. Ooh. So I'm gonna go just the original post is from DP Maniac 667. So shout out to Maniac.
You. Like that's not a nice name, by the way.
So
666, really? DP Maniac 666? 667. So
edgy. So close.
Okay. So it starts off all music is subjective. Everyone has different tastes and values, different qualities when assessing what makes music good, quotation marks. But the idea behind a guilty pleasure is that you acknowledge that it's bad/mediocre, yet you still like it anyway. But if all music is subjective, why does such a concept exist? Is it because popular opinion has deemed said music bad? Or is it because we enjoy it in a not so bad it's good kind of way? Or maybe we acknowledge that it's bad in terms of composition or originality, but have nostalgia or some kind of personal connection. So then he says, they say, I'm sure every person's reasoning will differ. But they've also heard the sentiment of no guilty pleasures because we should never be ashamed of what we enjoy. And they also mentioned Nickelback and Maroon 5, and stuff like that. So I found that really interesting because I agree that, music you like is purely subjective, which is why
like in general.
Exactly. Which is why I personally don't have guilty pleasures because I'm just like, I like what I like. Why should your opinion matter if I like it? So that's why I don't really have a guilty pleasure.
That's good.
You don't have them anymore.
I've never really had it.
Even as a teen?
Yeah.
Because to me, like the first contact with guilty pleasure was with Oasis. That wasn't the cool thing to listen when you were a guy in high school. That was a girly thing. Even
Wait, Oasis was a girly thing for you to listen to? Like which decade were you born?
I was born in 1984.
I'm just saying because Oasis was pretty freaking badass in the 90s, and I've never seen them as the boy band there.
Yeah,
although they were being pushed with that image there, but
yeah, with the Champagne Supernova, especially. But that was like the first contact I had with that. Like you're not supposed to listen to that. That's a girl thing. And like I said, I was more surrounded by people that was listening to heavy music. And I'm pretty sure like those people, because they were my friend and they are still. And I'm pretty sure if I asked them today, they'll probably change their mind. But
Yeah.
as a teen, it's really important to be like part of the group, part of the. That was for me. I was really like I didn't have like self confidence and stuff like that. I had a big mouth to protect myself, but otherwise, I had nothing. So to me, that was really important, and it came after with Sheryl Crow. I fall in love with Sheryl Crow. I really enjoy her music, but I never told my friend. Like those CD was hiding be under the like the Playboy and the Sheryl Crow had the same spot. Like,
Wow.
Now, see, when I was a teen, which was early 2000s, I loved Mixmania and Phenomia. So that by that point, I think people that were around me didn't really like them, but I didn't care. I just went to wait. I just went to HMV and waited on my own to get autographs instead of having friends. And I've also always liked, so I've always been like that. Do I go to shows alone? Yes. Do I go to meet and greets alone? Yes. And I've also always liked Simple Plan, which is also a guilty pleasure for a lot of people. Because I don't know why they have such a bad rap. But people are always judging people who like Simple Plan. And I've liked them since I was a teen. And back then also, like, I was just like, okay, well, fine. Nobody likes them. I'll go to the show alone. And I still had their posters in my room. I still had their photos in my agenda. So no, I didn't. Even back then, I guess I rejected the concept of guilty pleasures.
You were stronger than me.
Well, I think she's got her ego under control, and that's a very powerful thing. So she should be proud of that, because a lot of people will be fighting against that stuff when they shouldn't. You shouldn't care what other people think of what you like.
Yeah.
That's a basic Buddha rule in a way there, but everybody's fighting with that stuff all the time. And by the way, metalheads are the judgiest people in the world.
Maybe that's why.
So I think guilty pleasure should, the conversation should go more towards, why do people judge people for their taste? Like that's, I see that more as the reverse thing of all this, because I mean, you should just enjoy what you like. And François knows me enough to know that I'm always the first guy to talk about stuff I love. And however, I will feel very fragile to the attacks towards the things I love. So I will become very defensive. By the way, that's my ego problem that I'm dealing with. But these are the things that happens. But I'm always defending what people like. So when people like just judge negatively something positive in somebody's life, I always ask them why. And I always try to push the conversation. It always turns into vinegar, but I mean, that's my problem in a sense there. But I mean, like I hate. We should all like if you got nothing good to say, don't say it. And if you let people like what they like, then I'm a big fan of that. I don't want to get too emotional on that, but I hate that. Like seeing like him talking about his friends and hiding a Sheryl Crow CD. I mean, see, metalheads, man.
But see, and that's really sad, because François, you still listened to Sheryl Crow, even though you knew that it wasn't going to get accepted. But some people would have just not even listened to it anymore.
Yeah.
They would have just been like, okay, this is considered bad. I'm just never going to listen to it again, even though they actually enjoy it. And that's what I find sad, because then you're not free to enjoy what you actually want to enjoy.
I know that's a big thing.
But I think it's also a part of being a teen. Like you're trying to find your way or who you are in that big planet and all people. And like,
Lily is obviously the exception in the teen world. If she was like being able to like duck on water on a duck's back with all that stuff. I mean, it's a common known issue in teenagers that they're fighting with all this stuff in their heads. So.
Like another confession. Like when all my friends had Pamela Anderson posters, I had Alanis Morissette posters, And still today, my wife judged me by that. Not because it's a shame, but just like, you were the weird one.
Well, wait. Alanis Morissette, Never Too Hot, like pop version or Jagged Little Pill?
Jagged Little Pill.
Yeah.
I'm that old.
No, you're that young, actually. Because I'm from Ottawa, so I remember her as a pop star. She was trying to break in with Janet Jackson and stuff like that at the beginning.
No, but it's funny because sorry, what were you going to say?
Go.
No, I was just gonna say another thing that I had when I was a teen was at some point I had gotten really into Japanese pop bands, Japanese boy bands that were that I had bought magazines of and everything. And I remember one night, and I guess this is just really I don't care what you think, because there were people who were going through the magazines and saying, no, this is a girl, and I was like, no, that's a guy. No, this is a girl. No, that's also a guy. No, well then this one's a girl. No, that's also a guy. And it was I don't think there was any bad intentions, but somebody else could have taken that really badly. But I was just like, no, it's a guy. Get over it. Give me my magazine back.
But like for example, with Nickelback, I'm fascinated, by how it became a national guilty pleasure, or at least nationally. But no,
like bandwagon stuff there.
Yeah, but it's bigger than everything. I remember like maybe 10 years ago, there was a Super Bowl in Detroit or somewhere like that.
Yeah, they did the Super Bowl.
And there were like an anti-vote against them. Like people were voting against Nickelback to go on the show or something like that. They were announcing it in Showm and stuff like that. Like it was something good, like protect other people from Nickelback.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I don't understand how it's become that big, because like I think successful artists will get into that phase during it.
But then it's like, over.
An example, like new metal was big, like really big, and it become cheesy, and now it's coming back. Like I think
is new metal coming back?
Thanks
heads up. I'm excited.
No, seriously, like.
So is it like band. new metal now, or
new NEW space NU?
No, you're joking with me, right?
Yeah, I'm joking with you, but seriously, there's band now that like influenced by Limp Bizkit, Korn, Cold Chamber, and stuff like that, and they bring that aesthetic music in the crowd. Like that was like cool when I was young. It's become like boring and cheesy when I was in college, and now it's a thing again. Same thing with pop punk. Like it's disappeared from radio and TV, and now it's probably like the most impressive and creative genres. Like that grew.
Don't think it's quite back on the radio, except for alternative radio.
Yeah, it will eventually.
Yeah, but I mean, everything is it's a cycle, right?
Yeah.
So,
but I remember being on Facebook, somebody like it was a thing for a while to share the screenshot of friends who like something, right? So like I remember being like, somebody tried to publicly shame me on Facebook because they took a picture and they're like, so I have friends that still like Nickelback on Facebook, and that triggered me so much that I always proclaim that I like Nickelback. Always. It's like a duty for me to confront these kinds of judgmental situations. Like you can't, these are things that I think you just can't let stand, because I mean, Nickelback, they're not even like, until we know of yet, but they're not even like douchebags with women or nothing like that. They're just freaking dudes from like, they're just Canadian prairie kids that just figured out how to do nice licks and fucking rode with it. I don't understand the hate. I don't understand it. And I don't feel guilty about liking it anymore because somebody publicly shamed me or thought I was supposed to be shamed by that. It just flipped a switch for me. It's
but it's sad because you'll feel strongly about it like that, but others will just be like,
Exactly.
hi, yeah,
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
you know, like, don't look at me. Which is sad. Like, people who have been listening to us, which is probably not a lot, but people who have been listening to us from the beginning have seen my transition from like very little K-pop, one band, to now being a full-blown BTS fan. And like at 30 years old, 31, without any shame. And I feel like a lot of people wouldn't yell it out as loud as I do, because it is viewed as like a fandom that's supposed to only be these teenage girls.
It's pop.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way. The friends that I know that listen to K-pop, they are not ashamed of it.
No,
they like it a lot there.
That's true. Most fans of K-pop, we get very intense, and then
they sold chicken nuggets, man. I saw lots of friends that had their chicken nuggets. You know,
I went to get the chicken nuggets.
Did you get yours, Lily?
I got the chicken nuggets.
Wait.
No, and literally during that campaign, like my social feed, I was like, "Oh, you also you okay?" Like I was surprised.
All the purple boxes.
Yeah, I was just surprised by all these people that, and I knew what it was. They're like, I'm not innocent to not know what BTS is or that whole thing, but I mean, people that like them rarely are ashamed of it. From my experience, anyways.
Yeah. But it's just I feel like I always have to kind of defend myself, because people are like, "Oh, you like that like pop band of boys, like that boy band?" And I'm like, "Yes, they do. They're really good." But yeah. So
and who are these people? Like, are these family, friends? Do you have to?
Well, no. It's more when. Now it's like widely known, but at the beginning when I first started to listen to them,
okay, I hear you. Yeah.
And I'd say like, "Oh yeah, this is what I've been listening to," because what happens with me is I get into phases, and I only listen to one thing for the longest time. And so since like November, December last year, I've almost only been listening to BTS, with like some new music here and there. So then when I tell people, "Oh yeah, I really got into BTS recently, and I'm buying stuff and everything," and they're like, "Oh, really?" That's the first reaction.
Hey, the power of pop. That's the way I see it.
But
there.
That's funny because you're supposed to be ashamed because it's a popular thing.
No, I think people kind of view it as like, "Aren't you too old for that?"
Yeah, I was gonna say it's an age thing, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, but okay, so that means people that older than me, older than Eric, older than all three of us added together, still listen to the Beatles, are too old to listen to a boy band? Because we don't wear a boy band.
Yeah, no, see,
please. That was a boy band.
That's what
the Beatles.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's funny, because that it's true. The Beatles are 100% a boy band, but they've like passed on to the threshold of being like a legendary group.
Yeah, they had the stages. They had that perfect 10-year career, that perfect A to B's. Like, but trust me, I've said it often. If John Lennon would not have been shot, we would have been disappointed by a shitty reunion album in like '89 or something like that.
Probably.
Like I can guarantee you guys that.
like a reunion tour with all the guys hating each other.
Oh yeah.
Cringy time, like. Yeah, I remember back in the day. Oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah. I don't think it would have been that bad, but it would have been something else. Anyways, I have no idea what I'm talking about, but that's a joke I often say, that because they would have done a reunion album for sure, those guys there. Yeah. Seeing how they are now. And by the way, Paul, will he ever die or grow old? I'm always confused by this guy.
I saw him live in the show, and he seriously, he will probably outlive like every one of us. He can play for like 3 hours and a half.
It's crazy.
No stop. He's not even drinking water. And you see all the people who's playing with him stop taking breaks. They have like they're moving like pianos and stuff like that. And he continued to sing alone in front of everyone.
Yeah. Wow.
When there's too much people like not on the stage, he he bring people with him on the stage to sing, to because he always have I don't know if it's a meet and greet, but he has to people to have like signs, like give me a reason to bring you on stage. So people always have like I was supposed to see you in 1976, and now my mother's died, so I can't see you. I'm free, stuff like that.
Okay.
And he always do that kind of stuff, and most people that's really funny. But okay, now with COVID is different. But like you see, like old lady asking him for a kiss because
Really?
yeah, but it was a dream for them back in the day. He was like the hot guy, and like I always dream like you were kissing me. Probably more than that, but so they asked him like to have a kiss on stage. I saw a lady ask him in his permission to name her son Paul because she was pregnant at the show. So
Wow.
he seriously he's giving like really really nice show.
Hey, if Paul McCartney becomes a guilty pleasure, the world has
there's something wrong.
Gone to shit.
But so going back to guilty pleasures, François, you said that you had these when you were a kid, and you still do now. So what makes you have guilty pleasures now?
I still have the same guilty pleasure as when I was a teen. I don't have new guilty pleasure.
Okay.
I only had like the old one because I'm so.
This is like from childhood trauma then.
Yeah, I guess.
So you don't groove to Dua Lipa every now and then or something like that in hiding.
I don't hide them anymore, but like I remember the first time I saw publicly, I really enjoy Sheryl Crow. Many people weren't sure if that was a joke, if that was ironic, or if I was testing the crowd. Like, I like Sheryl Crow. Oh, me too. Ha! Gotcha.
The thing about Sheryl Crow, on top of that, I find, which is odd, is that she was like a late bloomer in her career too. Like she got a good hit late, and she was working bars like until her mid-30s, I think. Like she was not an instant success, and she got a good hit, and then it became a big thing. But she had like, I don't want to say she wasn't fabricated or anything like that, but she had depth in her story. It's not that bad.
But maybe there's a link between all the girl singing music, and I wasn't supposed to like that back in the day.
I cry when I see Jewel do the karaoke thing in hiding. I don't know if you saw that.
No.
Well, you know Jewel?
Yeah. Foolish Game, I think.
Yeah. Foolish Game, which is an insane album. She was singing in the street, discovered while she was panhandling for like doing busker music.
Wow.
But she did this thing where they put makeup on her, and she went into a karaoke to play her songs. And the people and you just saw like the sheer talent coming out of this girl, even though she was maquillée and like you couldn't tell. Everybody going there is like, oh my God, why is she not like a star? But she was. Yeah, exactly. But you think it's because you were a guy that liked girl singers? That's
you were ashamed for it.
Maybe there was a link because you like, especially back in the day, you were supposed to be a guy. I was playing hockey and I had long hair, and every people were making fun of me. I was a grunge kid with Q-Tex on my nails, and people I was playing hockey with tell me I was a fag. So maybe that was a link between that. But now I especially since I do the podcast with Lily, I don't have any more guilty pleasure.
She convinced you that it wasn't. Don't be ashamed. That's good.
Yeah, she convinced me to go alone on the show.
Yeah. We had an episode of because we had one of my friends who also goes to shows alone, and I go to shows alone, and we were like, why don't you go to a show alone?
I've never been.
I do that for movies. I go see like all Michael Bay's Transformers alone.
I don't think I've ever seen a movie alone.
Oh yes, I'll do that sometimes.
Is the Transformers a guilty pleasure of yours?
I often get into heated arguments with good friends about like if they're good movies or not. And sometimes what I hate about those, and this works for music too there, but when somebody confronts you about a guilty pleasure and they want you like explain why you like something, I hate that. I hate needing to explain or justify something I like. And when somebody justifies why they don't like something, like I and it's friends, like my only actual response would be, I do not care. Like that's like I don't care.
That's your opinion.
Exactly.
I have mine.
But I mean, when I don't like something, like if somebody tells me I like something that I don't like, I will never, like, it's not even part of my genetic system to be like, oh, that's cute. I think they suck. Like, I don't see the use of that. I don't see, I hate when people do that. Anyways.
So remember when I was reading that Reddit comment and it said, is it because it's something that's actually bad in terms of composition and everything? Because I know somebody who always says, well, they're bad objectively, not subjectively. And I'm like,
oh, no
way. It's subjective. It'll always be subjective. You can't say something's objectively bad when so many people like it. Or even if nobody likes it, like, unless it's just like, I don't know, one note for 3 minutes, you've got to give some credit.
We have the same problem in video games. I work in video games. I love video games. Video games is my main passion. And we have that problem in video games where defining like a criticism of a game can't be like, it's never objective. It's always a subjective review. So, but they're always sold as like make it or break it type of reviews. Like somebody didn't like a game and gives it like a 7 out of 10. Well, that could cost people's bonuses. That could cost sales, cost all these things. And it has nothing to do as an objective review, because people don't do objective reviews for video games because they're just boring to read. Like an objective review is boring. It's not the most interesting thing to read, right?
How would an objective review of a video game be?
Hey, you know what? I have a great example of this there, which I can give you right now. But at the end of the day, when it comes to video games, the thing is that, like, objectively speaking, a game is good. Like, that's base. Like if it was released, if it doesn't have many bugs, if it's functional, if the like the game works until, like, all mechanically speaking, the game's good is good. But if you don't like it, somebody will say it's a crappy game because they don't like it,
or they don't like the gameplay, or
exactly. But if I go here, because we were actually talking about this in video games today, and it was a very good situation there, but. Yes, so this is somebody did like in video games did the exercise of doing a subjective review.
Subjective or objective?
An objective. So sorry, objectively subjective. So as an example, is if you like a game, if you buy a game and like it, then you like that game. If you don't like that game, then you don't like that game. It has things in it that some people might enjoy, but other people who have different ideas of what is enjoyable may not actually enjoy it. Like, that's a boring read.
Yeah,
it's just too factual, which I guess works both ways in the sense there. But you can't, like, if it's good, like as you said, composition wise, like the biggest pop songs are pop songs because they discovered and they got that composition done. Yeah, there's this YouTuber that I remember. I used to like. It was like a jazz pianist or a very, very monster pianist guy, and he would just break down the most cheesy pop music to show what's brilliant in it. I think you're maybe having a flash about it, but I forgot what this video guy is, and I used to love his videos. But he would just like hit me, baby, one more time, and just break down all the melodies and the notes. And you're like, it's not for nothing that so many people like it. It's because they nailed something. And yeah, sure, you want to argue that it was probably pumped out in a farm where like 15 producers came in and they picked the best parts of everything and assembled something. But at the end of the day, that's still a process that something works. Like,
exactly.
Is it, Jacob Collier?
If it is, send it to me because I forgot about him, and I've been doing stupid searches like jazz pianist analyzes pop music. I've not been able to find this thing in like 4 or 5 years. So
Maybe,
But so
I'm not sure it's him, but I know he do that kind of stuff.
It's awesome stuff.
But that reminds me, you know, when we had an episode on what's a good summer track, and there was like an article kind of breaking down why Despacito was so popular. And that kind of reminded me of that, because it broke down like, so they use this key here to make it so that it sounds kind of odd, so that people are like hooked because they're wondering, oh, what's this? So that's really interesting too, because it's really it comes down to the same recipes.
Yeah.
Really, for pop music anyways. Because
for every music. Because every genre has its own code.
Its own, right. But when I used to work for an online magazine, every once in a while I would have to do a album review. And I was so bad because I never knew what to write. Because I didn't want to put my opinion too much in it. So I was like, this song was fast paced. This song was slower. The lyrics were a little bit more sentimental, because I didn't want to, put my actual opinion in it that much, because I don't want my opinion to have an impact on how somebody else is going to enjoy an album.
Yeah, but as a reviewer now these days, especially with the web, how it is now, is you have to put what you like out there as you review. Because that way, like, an intelligent reader is gonna find themselves in what you like and follow you, because they already know what you like. So, and I understand that, but that's not a make it or break it. It's kind of like news. You're not gonna stick to Fox News and think that's all the important stuff. You have to go all over the place and do it. Like my friend Francois mentioned the Shizufrex reviews that I do sometimes, where it's just me drunk reviewing a video game that's in my collection. Mm-hmm. But I do it that way because it's kind of like I find it's more like a satire in the concept of like, I like this game. Mm-hmm. One of my first reviews is like Harry Potter for the PS2. And and I literally like say, like, if you take time to write like a 3-page review on a freaking functional Harry Potter game, like, you have stuff to figure out in your life, because it doesn't matter. Like, somebody will like that. I had people come at the bar and tell me, like, dude, I listened to that review you did of Harry Potter on PS2, and man, my dad loved that game, and hearing you talk about that game that way felt good, because I was literally like telling people to fuck off if they think they got to tell that it sucks. Like, there's no word, like, there's nothing, like, there's no need to do that. Mm-hmm. It's a good, if it works, it works.
Maybe guilty pleasure is linked to the phenomenon of gatekeeping.
Oh boy, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially in heavier genres, gatekeeping is pretty strong. Like, there's always like a trend, or at least people, especially what is his name, Corey Taylor, the singer of Slipknot, is really vocal, and there's always like someone or many people saying this band is good, this band is bad, like this is real musician and real music, this is not. And like,
and then it gets accepted.
Yeah, imagine a poor kid like doing like the best he can, having like his first song getting some attention and traction, and someone say, yeah, but your drum is fake, so you're not a real musician, it's not real music.
Mm-hmm.
But and on the other hand, I can imagine another kid like, yeah, but I still love that song, but like the whole, like the real metal guy said is not good. So maybe, like Eric said, it probably push people away from something probably good
that they might, yeah, exactly, which is really sad.
It's a big problem with the internet right now, is that this kind of crappy, I wouldn't say crappy, but negative opinions on stuff rise on top, like because it creates more reactions and engagement. Yeah, the engagement is there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And since the engagement is there, well, all this poop rises up, and people hop on to these like echo chamber visions on stuff. And Nickelback is an example of that. Others are examples of that. Like people will say they don't like Nickelback because people say they don't like Nickelback.
Yeah.
So they just think it's the thing to say, you know?
I feel like maybe some of these people who say they don't like Nickelback, maybe they haven't ever even listened to Nickelback.
But that's exactly it, though. That's exactly it. That's the biggest
How can
thing.
you have such a big opinion like that if you don't even give them a chance?
That's the other problem. They don't care about that. They just want their opinion to be shared, or I don't know.
Probably.
They want on the other hand, feel
they can hate it if they want. Like maybe it's not their thing, but why being so vocal about it?
And why are you shaming people who do like them? That's what's the biggest problem. Because if people didn't shame others, there would be no concept of guilty pleasure.
Yeah, exactly.
Not because, yes, there's the fact that you need to be able to accept what you like and not care. But if you don't need to not care because nobody cares what you like, then this whole thing is just this whole concept just vanishes.
There's like a parallel with witch hunts, maybe? I don't know. You know, you go into the woods and party with your friends, all of a sudden you're a witch, you know, I don't know.
But so I think we've pretty much made the rounds for guilty pleasures and our opinions on that. We kind of drifted off here and there, but I think we've pretty much covered our ground with that. So tell us what you think. Do you have any guilty pleasures? Do you shame people? If you do, maybe it's time to stop.
Please tell me you love Sheryl Crow, please.
And is there anything else you two would like to add?
No, just be proud of what you like, and if people get out of hand, don't be afraid to stand proud on the things you like. It's a tough balance sometimes, and you often just fall into the trap of being the thing you hate. But sometimes it could feel good.
Yeah.
Ask
be
questions.
Be a lily in this world.
Yeah, be a lily, but ask questions. Like if somebody confronts you on stuff like that, just open the conversation. I heard you, but why don't you like them? Try to find out, like open the discussion on that.
Like I said, I think it's more than just why don't you like them. Why do you feel the need to kind of try to push your opinion on me?
Mais parce que j'ai le doigt.
You have to translate that.
Because I can. Because I have the right to.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry. And I don't have anything more to add to it. There's just like what you like. Be proud of it.
Right. So this was Sparkling Harmonies. We're your hosts, Lily.
And François.
And we had our guest, Eric, here today, or Eric.
It was fun.
Hebert.
Eric Hebert. Yeah, and it's important too because my actually no, you can say Eric Hebert, but my dad was very strong on the fact that my name is not Eric with an accent aigu. My name is Eric, like Eric Clapton, with no accent aigu.
Oh, I see.
Oh.
Yeah.
Today I learned something.
Yeah.
And check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.
Yes. Thanks for the invite, guys. It was fun.
Thanks for coming.
Yay.